This is the house that we're going to be drawing using 2-point perspective. So we're going to start with this large piece of paper, 12 by 18. And we're going to start by measuring 4 inches up from the bottom of the page. Make a little mark on either end. Again, that was 4 inches up. And then connect across. Then on either end of the horizon line, you need your vanishing points. So those are just little dots right on the end of either line. Measure in from the left side 6.5 inches along the horizon line and just make a little mark there. Then you can line up your ruler, line up the 2.5 marking so that 0 is higher, 2.5 is in the middle. Okay, and then make sure your ruler is straight up and down, parallel with the edges of the paper. Start at the top of that, and then go straight through 2 inches further, so go to 4.5. Okay, so that's the first line of our building. Then we're going to connect the bottom of that line towards our left vanishing point. And you can keep that line pretty light. You're also going to connect the top of that line toward the left vanishing point, a light line. Okay? You can measure again along the vanishing point 2 inches, along the horizon line, 2 inches out and make a mark. And at that 2 inches, you will draw a straight vertical line between the two diagonals that you just made. Those diagonal lines, when they recede to the vanishing point like that, are called orthogonals. All right, so we did that vertical line. Now we can erase the extra part of the orthogonals that extend past where we made that vertical line. So we don't need these anymore. And the horizon line where this front face of the building is covering it. Now what we're going to do is measure 1.5 inches over to the right this time from that vertical line that we made. Then you're going to connect the bottom of that line, that same line that we started with, towards the right side vanishing point. This time you don't need to extend that line all the way because it's not actually going to go past that 1.5 inch marker. Okay, so you do that with the top and the bottom. So they would connect to the vanishing point if we would extend the line all the way, but we're just not extending it all the way. Because then we're going to line up where that 1.5 inch marker was, away from the midline. Do a straight vertical line between the two orthogonals, and then we can erase the extra from the ends. Now we're going to measure 2 inches to the right of the last line that we made, the last vertical line. We can make a little mark. Now we're going to line up to the left vanishing point. Connect that to this bottommost corner that we've just created, and we're going to extend that line. And we don't really need to go past the point of that mark, because that's where we're going to make the vertical line again. And then we'll do that with the top corner also. So we're making another side to the house. Then we're going to put our straight vertical through and use that 2 inch marker like that. Then we can erase these extra lines, the horizon line behind the house and the little extra there. And now we're going to measure 2.5 inches along the horizon line. Make a little mark there. And connect now these bottom and the top of these lines to the right side vanishing point. And again, we don't have to extend much past that tick mark that we made. Okay, then at that 2.5 marker, straight vertical line. Erase the little bit of extra. Okay, so now we kind of have the bare bones of our house. We're going to add a roof, a peak here, and a peak here. We've done kind of the base of this part of the house and this part of the house. We're adding these two roofs now. So we're going to add a roof to this face of the building first. So what you want to do is from opposite corners, corner to corner, you're going to draw a light line. And that's going to form an X across the face of the house. Just lightly because it's going to be erased. All right. Now we're going to line up our ruler so that it lines up through the midpoint of the X and it's straight up. So through that midpoint, you can draw a line that extends just a ways past the top of the roof. We'll do our peak about 1.5 inches. So from this top point of the house, you want to measure along that line you made 1.5 inches up and just make a little point. That's where the peak of the roof is going to be. Now the roof is going to have some overhang. We want to show that right away. So we connect this dot to the left upper corner, okay, to start our roof. But for this side, it's going to be a little different. What we're going to do is instead of connecting corner to peak, we're going to show that the roof overhangs a little bit. So if you had it lined up corner to peak, you basically move your ruler over to the left a little bit, left and down, because you want the same distance between the dot and the ruler as from the corner and the ruler. So it would be parallel to that roof line. And you're going to extend kind of the same distance past the line here. So crossing that line and then coming and cutting that corner. And then just extending past through that corner too. Like so. Okay, so you've cut that corner now. And then from this point, all right, what we're gonna do is make a parallel line. So it would be parallel with this original roof line. This shows the overhang. Then extend a little ways past this edge again. Okay, once we have that, we can erase that little dot for the peak of the roof, and we can erase the corner of the house a little bit too, because then we won't see that in the end. Then what we need to do, line up to our left side vanishing point and make your ruler touch the end of the roof line over here, because that's going to show you that these two roof lines are hanging down evenly, and we're going to draw the line from here to here, so it shows where it's overhanging and going back behind the house. Okay, that's the little line we did. We lined up from the left vanishing point to the tail end of there. Then what we're going to do is line up the tail end of this roof to the right side vanishing point and draw this roof line and just extend it a little past the middle of the house. We'll end up seeing where it connects with the other roof line. And then connect that right vanishing point to your new peak, the peak of the roof that you've now made. And just extend that till it almost touches this building here. It doesn't quite have to touch it. Okay, and you can go ahead and erase a little bit of this in between here, because that's not going to exist once we get the other roof in here too. And we can erase all of this on the face of the house that we used to make that roof. We're going to do a roof over here, and we start just the same way. So we're going to make that light X from corner to corner. We make the lines. Then we're going to extend straight up. This time we're going to go 2 inches above the level of the house for the peak of the roof. So you can just start by lining 2 up right at that level. Go straight up, make your dot at the 0, and you know where your peak is going to be. This time now, since we're viewing the house kind of here, you know, we'd see this overhang of the roof, but looking at it this way, we're going to see the overhang on this side. So we'll start with the right. So we connect the peak to the right side corner like this, and now we need to show how this hangs over the corner here. So this is where we line up so that it's same distance from the dot and the corner, and extend past the corner, past this line. like so. All right. See how low I want it overhang? And then from here, our new peak, line up so that it's parallel with that line of our roof. And just extend it a ways. Then I use my right vanishing point, line it up to the tail of that side of the roof. Okay, like that. So that jets back there. Can erase this dot again in this corner. And so now this tail end of the roof is going to connect to the left side vanishing point. And it's just going to go until it hits the other roof line, which works out to be right in the middle, which won't always work out that way. It worked out on mine that they actually met at this line, but it might not work out that way in yours, which is okay. It doesn't have to. Okay, now I'm gonna erase this part, this extra part of the house, because that's where my roof is gonna be covering it up. And then I'm gonna connect the peak of the roof, the new peak that I made, to the left side vanishing point until it hits the other roof line, and then erase the extras of that roof line. And then I'm gonna connect from the corner where the top parts of the roof meet to the corner where the bottom parts of the roof meet. This is one of the very rare times where you're not using a vanishing point or drawing straight up and down. Okay, don't get used to it because it doesn't happen too often. There we go. So I got the two roofs on and they join together here. Now I can erase this extra on the face of this part of the house. Good. Now what I'm going to do is start the extension on the house. This part here and this part that we're going to add on. Okay, so we're going to do this part first. What we're going to do, I know we just made this nice little edge of our roof, but we're actually going to erase that little part right there. And along that line that you also erased on the face of the building, but where that was, line up to your right side vanishing point. And we're going to extend this a ways out. And then same with the bottom of the house, line up along the bottom to your right side vanishing point and extend it a ways over. Okay, and then do your vertical line in between. And this doesn't have to be anything exact, mine's about 1.5 inches extra. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit to the roof here. So what I'm gonna do, line up to my right side vanishing point, leaving about as much space as there is of the overhang here. I'm gonna line up a line, extend it in a ways past the middle here. Might have gone a little further than I want, because I'm gonna take this corner where these two meet and kind of give it a diagonal here. It's just kind of a design thing to add a little roof type little roofing along this extra part of the house. And then I'm going to extend the top line and kind of add a similar diagonal at the end here. Alright, so it's just giving it a little detail of there being a roof over top of there. Then I'm going to start the addition for that little plant room or whatever we were going to make. So I'm going to line up, you're going to want to line up to the left side vanishing point and then line up to this point where the extension on the house starts. And then just go out, jut out a little ways with that. We're going to do the same with this outer corner. Jut out a little ways. Then you're going to use the right side vanishing point to connect those two lines. Okay. And erasing the horizon line behind this part of the house. That's where we're going to stop for now.